Our gospel this morning is a continuation of yesterday's, taken from the 5th chapter of the gospel according to Matthew, and it begins with the Sermon on the Mount. In yesterday's gospel, Jesus pointed out attitudes that the world wouldn't consider blessings, but he does, such as meekness, humility, poverty of spirit, etc. Today, Jesus identifies his followers by comparing them to two simple yet very important items, salt and light. Salt was a particularly important item in Jesus' time. It was necessary for the preservation of foods, since obviously there was no refrigeration. Light was something which Jesus' hearers would immediately recognize to be a sign of God's presence. They might think, for example, of the prophet Isaiah, who in chapter 2 of his book speaks of God calling the house of Judah to walk in the light of the Lord. They might also, when they heard Jesus use the term light, think of our responsorial psalm today, Psalm 4, with the refrain which we just sang, Lord, let your face shine on us. In our Old Testament reading today from the first book of Kings, Elijah becomes God's light to the woman, the widow woman, God has chosen to help him on his mission. The woman is understandably desperate about the situation she and her son are in, with no food, no help, and yet Elijah assures her that God is with her and that he will take care of her and her son. She, with amazing generosity, shares the very little she has with Elijah, and God blesses her and her son and provides for them and Elijah for their food for the year. One commentator on today's scriptures reminds us that salt and light don't actually add anything to what is already there, but help us become more aware of it. Salt doesn't add to the food that it's put on, but it does bring out the taste of it. Light doesn't add or change what is already in the darkness, but light helps us to become more aware of it and perhaps be safe in our comings and goings. It helps us to find our way. It helps us to see the beauty before us. And you and I today are called by Jesus to be salt and light, to help others come to know the presence and the strength and the love and the mercy of God with them, and also to help us to reflect the light who is Christ to others, to give them hope and joy.